This is a video I've been wanting to make. I now have 4 VNAs. I have an HP 8712 VNA. I have the original NanoVNA, the 2.8-inch version. In fact, I pre-ordered it before they were actually released, so I have one of the very first copies of that. I later purchased an H4 version, and it's a nice bigger screen. I've also upgraded the software on the H4 to the dislord software, which increases the number of calibration points. So instead of 201, it gives you 401. And I also just recently acquired a Model F version 2, which has even a different version of software in it. So I have these 4 different VNAs. I thought I'd try similar measurements with a particular device. The device I'm going to use is a bandpass filter. It is a K&L microwave bandpass filter centered at 437.5 megahertz. And we will make basically 2 measurements. We'll make an S11 measurement and an S21 measurement. So a reflection measurement and a transmission measurement. All right. So we'll start out with the HP instrument. This is the S21 measurement. And you can see that this filter has a particular shape to it. The sides are a bit of S shape to them. So that's something to see if the others replicate that S shape across the logarithmic boundaries. And the dynamic range. So the better instruments will have better dynamic range. At least that's one of the parameters of a better instrument. So on the left-hand side, our floor is about at -70, and on the other side, it's about at -50. And then you can look at those 2 notches also, how sharp those notches are. Now, the HP machine is calibrated with 801 calibration points, so it has a finer resolution. And just for thoroughness, here is the bandwidth of the filter and the insertion loss. All right, so we're going to start with the NanoVNA F version 2. The sidewalls are S-shaped. The right one seems to be a little farther right than the other one. I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination, but it doesn't look to be the same shape exactly, but it looks pretty close. It does have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 and a half. It has 65 dB on the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's doing okay. This one has pretty good dynamic range. I'd say this is doing quite well. All right, we'll take a look at the H4 version. The H4 version looks, the S-shape curve isn't quite distinct on the left-hand edge of this filter. It's a little bit different. So I believe that's probably the logarithmic amps in the device not being completely accurate over decades, but that's just a guess. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 60 dB on the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's okay left and right, although the skirts, the left-hand side and the right-hand side are very lumpy and very noisy. So I would say that this particular unit probably doesn't have great dynamic range and is a bit noisy down below, say, 50 dB. All right, and here's the original. The shape of the curves aren't so bad, but the skirts are quite terrible. They don't really go down into points, and the skirts are not really at the values they should be. On the left-hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60 dB, but there's lumpiness. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only 40 dB on the right-hand side. So yeah, it doesn't have as much dynamic range. All right, let's take a look at the S11 measurement, which is the return loss measurement. And this is what the filter looks like. I'm going to use two things to take a look at this. One is how far down is the reflection loss. So there's kind of two lumps inside the curve there, and they're about at minus 20. So the filter has about a minus 20 return loss with some other spikes in there. And then the very left-hand spike I'm going to use as a frequency reference to see if everybody can measure that frequency. So here's a marker put exactly down in that notch. And it's happening at 40.583 megahertz. So much better resolution, of course, on the HP machine. All right, here is the F version 2 machine. Looks great, minus 20. I would say this is basically an identical graph. You know, well done. And if we go down into that notch, we're measuring 400. So it's the resolution of the machine. It doesn't have the fine granularity of frequency. But if you really cared about the thing, you could zoom into it and then everything would just be fine. So, you know, I wouldn't hold that against it too much. All right, here is the H4 unit, and it's measuring perfectly. Everything looks great. And the notch is happening at 400 as the other one. All right, let's take a look at the NanoVNA 2.8. I'm sorry I didn't have the a resolution to 5 dB per step. It's only 10 dB per step, but I think you get the idea. It's measuring just fine as well. And the little notch is happening at 400. Okay, so we're also interested in what Smith charts look like. Here's the Smith chart with the HP instrument. It's a nice Smith chart. It has lots of loops and stuff in it, lots of things to take a look at. All right, here's the F-V2, and it's basically giving you the same picture, but there is some lumpiness to it. It only has 201 data points, so yeah, it does have a bit of lumpiness. The H4 unit actually is nice and smooth, so hats off to the dislord software. It makes a very nice one. So yeah, I'd say this is the winner here. And then the original is very, very lumpy, and it's pretty crude. It's getting the job done, but it's pretty crude. You would need to zoom in to look at particular things. The wide view is not doing great there. Anyway, I hope it's interesting comparing these four VNAs, and maybe it'll help you choose the one that you want.